Ancient Sumerian tablet explains the origin of human beings, created by gods as servants. Ancient Sumer was the first urban civilization that inhabited Mesopotamia, now modern-day Iraq region. 6,000 years ago, the Sumerians believed in many gods. They prayed to Anu, Enki, of water, knowledge, mischief, Utu, and sin. Ancient Sumerian cuneiform tablets showed that they knew about our solar system a lot. They had knowledge of the shape of planets including Earth. It was Sumerians who invented the very first concepts of astrology. The 12 zodiac signs in 1894 BC. In many cases, the Maya civilization and ancient Sumerians shared the ancient heritage. Many ancient texts reveal that humans and gods used to live together, while humans were servants to God, and each Sumerian city was guarded by its own god. The earliest record of a Sumerian creation myth can be found in a tablet excavated in Nippur, an ancient Sumerian city in Mesopotamia. Gods came on earth. According to Sumerian tablets, the Enuma Elish, also known as the Seven Tablets of Creation, tells the story of the great god Marduk's victory over the forces of chaos and his establishment of order at the creation of the world. The story begins like this: when in the height heaven was not named, and the earth beneath did not yet bear a name, and the primeval Apsu who begat them, and chaos Tiamat, the mother of them both. Their waters are mingled together, and no field was formed, no marsh was to be seen. When of the gods none had been called into being, and none bore a name, and no destinies were ordained. Then were created the gods in the midst of heaven. Lamu and Lahamu were called into being. It is important to note that all the tablets containing the story of creation myth can be found at Ashur. Kish, Ashurbanipal's library of Nineveh, interestingly imprints on the tablets say that these are the copies of much older versions of the myth dating from long before the fall of Sumer in circa 1750 BCE. According to the cuneiform tablet, Earth was ruled by human-like gods at the beginning. When they arrived on Earth, they made it habitable by toiling the soil and mining the minerals. Besides, the text mentioned the revolt between the gods and their laborers. When the gods, like men, bore the work and suffered the toil of the gods was great. The work was heavy. The distress was, it is said, before humans. Anunnaki used the Igigi, the young generation of ancient astronaut gods, as their servants to mine gold on Earth, but later they were replaced by humans when they rebelled against Anunnaki. For the ancient Mesopotamians, heaven is divided into three domes. The lowest dome of heaven was the home of the stars, and the middle dome was the home of the Igigi, the younger gods. The highest and outermost dome of heaven was personified as An, the god of the sky, creation of first human. Besides, the Igigi are considered to be the mythological Sumerian deities by mainstream scholars. According to them, Igigi worked for the mighty Anunnaki as servants who initiated a rebellion against their masters and the dictatorship of Enlil, a god of the atmosphere. Ancient origins write, Anu, the god of gods, agreed that their labor was too great. His son Enki, or Ea, proposed to create man to bear the labor, and so, with the help of this half-sister Enki, he did. A god was put to death, and his body and blood were mixed with clay. From that material, the first human being was created in likeness to the gods. You have slaughtered a god together with his personality. I have removed your heavy work. I have imposed your toil on man. In the clay, God and man shall be bound to a unity brought together, so that to the end of days, the flesh and the soul, which in a god have ripened, that soul and a blood kinship be bound. This first man was created in Eden, a Sumerian world that means flat terrain. In the epic of Gilgamesh, Eden is mentioned as the garden of gods and is located somewhere in Mesopotamia between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. According to cuneiform text, the first successful human was named Adapa. The whole line of species was named as Adamu. In this case, the similarity to the Bible is striking. A tablet discovered in the ruins of the ancient Babylonian city of Nippur in the 19th century by a team from the University of Pennsylvania also tells the story of a plan by the gods to destroy the world by means of a great flood, and recounts the tale of an immortal man named Utnapishti, who builds a huge boat to rescue his family and every type of animal. The Sumerian tablets emphasize that humans were not born like other life forms on the planet. Interestingly, an ecologist and environmentalist originally from Wisconsin, USA, Dr. Ellis Silver argued that humans are not from Earth. In his book entitled Humans Are Not From Earth, a scientific evaluation of the evidence, he suggests that our species is not native to Earth. and may have come from somewhere else. He indicated that humankind was brought to Earth in the very distant past. He put forward his research based on several subjects. For example, chronic diseases that affect the human race like back pain, indicating it could be a sign that proves our species was formed on another planet with much less gravity. He also mentioned that humans have 223 extra genes that are absent in any other species on Earth.
The Anunnaki covenant between Abraham and Enlil as part of the Second Pyramid War between Marduk, Enki, and Enlil. In this entry, we explore the biblical account of the covenant between God and Abraham as it appears in Sumerian texts. According to Zechariah Sitchin's Third Earth Chronicles book, The Wars of Gods and Men, which traces the covenant to a war between the Anunnaki clans led by Enki and Enlil, sparked by Anunnaki Prince Marduk's desire for world domination with the assistance of his father, Enki. It's important to understand, however, that Marduk's ambitions were not driven purely by greed, but followed by the rules of celestial time which the Anunnaki used to govern their own affairs. At the heart of the Pyramid Wars fought between the Sumerian Anunnaki gods is the account of the covenant between Abraham and the Anunnaki. Causes of the Anunnaki Ancient Aliens Second Pyramid War, a war about time, earth, celestial and divine time. The Anunnaki divided time into earthly time, celestial time, and divine time in accordance with their advanced astronomical skills and observations. Earthly time was measured according to the Earth's solar orbit, divided into 365 days and 12 months or lunar cycles. Celestial time, on the other hand, related to the cycle of movement of the 12-star constellation, zodiac signs houses, observable from the Earth, and also known as the precession of the equinoxes. The precessionary cycle is measured in the months, named according to the constellation aka zodiac house, sign visible from Earth. The cycle spans a period of approximately 25,920 years, over which time the constellation appeared to slowly rotate around the Earth. We are presently finishing the age of Pisces and will be soon entering the age of Aquarius. There is growing weight of evidence that this cycle was recognized in ancient times, going as far back as the age of Leo, as represented by the Sphinx at Giza. Divine time was based on the orbit of the Anunnaki home planet Nibiru, which the Anunnaki termed a Sar. Each Sar, or one Anunnaki year, was equivalent to 3,600 Earth years. This is why thousands of human years are referred to as but days in the eyes of the gods. In ancient texts, it is a reference to the Anunnaki divine time scale based on the Sar orbit of Nibiru. Modern science and astronomy has confirmed the accuracy of the Anunnaki's astronomical observations behind the calendar of Nippur, and these still hold true today. Using the Anunnaki understanding and measurement of time, Marduk's desire to ascend was properly founded on the precession of equinoxes, which in his understanding of the official Anunnaki calendar at Nippur indicated that the constellation of the Ram, Marduk's symbol, would be observed in the skies above Earth, meaning it would be time for the age of the Ram, house of Marduk, to rule over the Earth according to Enlil's calendar at Nippur. It is Enlil Anunnaki clan's refusal to acknowledge the legitimacy of Marduk and by extension Enki's clan's right to rule over the Earth, according to the Nippurian calendar, which triggered the Sumerian Anunnaki Pyramid Wars. Abraham's connection to the Anunnaki Ancient Aliens Sumerian priesthood roots. According to Zechariah Sitchin, Abraham's lineage as a member of the ancient Sumerian priesthood is significant in understanding the Anunnaki Pyramid Wars. how the biblical covenant eventually came to exist, and the origins of religion. According to Sichan, Terah, the son of Nohar and the father of Abraham, was born in Ur of the Chaldees. Initially, Abraham was an Enlil oracle priest chosen to be the chief priest of the Enlil's new city base at Haran, after kingship was granted to the city of Ur. It was from Abraham that the nation of Israel descended, and as Sichan points out, Abraham is recorded as having left Ur for Haran in Genesis. On his way to Haran, Sichan observes that Abraham met God, and he was promised that his descendants would one day possess the lands of Canaan, of which Haran was a part. Although it is unclear at this stage why such a promise is being made to Abraham, whilst it's unclear from the Bible why God made a promise to Abraham on his way to Haran. The Sumerian texts, on the other hand, explain the reward blessing given to Abraham was because of the service he performed for the Anunnaki god Enlil when he was commanded to travel to Canaan in order to defend the Anunnaki spaceport in the Sinai Peninsula, or the place of celestial chariots, which at the time was under siege from the forces of Marduk during the Anunnaki's Second Pyramid War. Abraham succeeded in repelling Marduk, but his victory would not be enough to prevent further attempts by Marduk, leading eventually to the destruction of the Sinai Peninsula spaceport using nuclear weapons by the Enlil in order to prevent the spaceport's takeover by a persistent Marduk. Marduk victory in Anunnaki Ancient Aliens Second Pyramid War. Marduk emerged victorious in the Second Pyramid War, which ushered in the Age of the Ram. His celestial sign and Marduk's temple was built in Babylon. Marduk's new city, Babylon, was spared the effects of the evil nuclear wind that destroyed the Sumerian civilization following the nuclear attack on the Sinai Peninsula spaceport by Enlil. And the Anunnaki agreed that this was a sign that Marduk was correct in claiming it as the Age of Ram, because destiny had spared Marduk's city of Babylon from the effect of the evil nuclear wind that had swept over most of Sumer. In the final analysis, Sichan's War of Gods and Men is one of the most thrilling in the Earth Chronicles because it provides additional historical information sourced from the Sumerian text. This helps provide the complete context in the biblical and the historical events of ancient times. As such, in the Earth Chronicles, the story of Abraham and the nation of Israel, we find what is quite possibly the complete story of Abraham and its links to the affair of the olden Sumerian Anunnaki gods.